What's up, guys? Welcome to the very first episode of Just Ringing It, which is just as the title says, we're just ringing it. Just going to kind of share some kind of raw thoughts and opinions on, in this case, WrestleMania Night 1 and Night 2. We're fresh off of just watching Night 2, so we're just going to get into it and start kind of sharing our ideas and thoughts on what we just witnessed.
Real-time thoughts, yeah.
Real time, yeah.
Do you want to introduce us to the audience since they've probably never really seen us?
Yeah, very true. My name's Chris, and this is Steven, Uncle Steven, or as I call him, Uncle Stevie. So yeah.
You may have seen, if you've seen the channel Just BSing. Probably most of you haven't, but if you have, thank you. But you've seen Chris on a couple of our videos over on Just BSing. That's my channel with my another Chris in my life, my good friend Chris. So there are actually two WrestleMania retro reviews on Just BSing. If you want to go check those out after you watch this, just kind of get an idea where our heads are at when we watch WrestleManias.
Right.
Was it WrestleMania 17 and WrestleMania 25? So if you're a
right.
fan or a hater of either of those, please go check those videos out.
For sure. Okay, yeah. So let's just hop right into Night 1. So, I would say I'm not gonna kind of bury the lead here. Night 1 to me was very, very good. I quite enjoyed it. Like, all of it was just really good. What did you think overall? Like, I
was very pleasantly surprised with Night 1. Like, looking at the card just on paper, the Night 1 card versus the Night 2 card, I thought Night 2 was going to be kind of the blowaway night. But Night 1 was really, really good. And I'm a harsh critic right now because I'm kind of in and out of fandom with WWE. So Night 1 just pleasantly surprised me. I was found myself very enthralled with all of the matches. Don't really think there was anything bad at all on Night 1. I mean, there were some things that, like, there were some missteps here and there, but nothing that I would classify as a bad match. Great night overall for WrestleMania.
Yeah, agreed. It was, every match felt like a WrestleMania match. It wasn't all of it. Like, it didn't feel like a lot of filler. So, well,
first of all, let's talk about that set. That set was amazing. Like the WrestleMania 39 set, like just the zoom out and everything, the two sides and the lighting and everything is really, really cool. Probably one of the best sets they've had in a while.
Absolutely. Yeah. They're going for the whole Hollywood Oscars thing, but not like going overboard with it. Not like, it wasn't like cheesy. Yeah, it was good. So Night 1, we started with Becky G, who I wasn't familiar with who that was, but she nailed it, singing "America the Beautiful."
Yeah, sounded good.
She did great. And then we had Miz and Snoop Dogg out there, and I didn't know Snoop Dogg was going to be part of this. Like, I knew Miz was hosting it, but I didn't know Snoop Dogg was going to be.
No clue. Always love seeing Snoop.
Right. Yeah,
you can tell he's a major fan, so it's always good to see it. He just kind of jumps around to whatever promotion will have him, I guess.
Right. Right.
So, because he was like, I don't follow AEW, but I know he did something with them fairly recently, right?
Yeah. At least a couple months ago, I want to say.
Wow, that recently. Yeah, that's funny.
Not that long ago.
But no, Miz always a good host, and of course, Snoop is just Snoop, so he's always fun.
Yeah. So they did the kind of the classic host kicking it off kind of thing, and then we got into Austin Theory versus John Cena, which was always good to see John Cena. Like, I remember I used to dislike him very much so, but I guess absence really does make the heart grow fonder, because at this point now I'm just glad to see him. Match itself to me all right. I mean, it was kind of a copy and paste John Cena match, but
it was fine. I was kind of surprised that it was as short as it was, and that Cena didn't kick out of at least two finishers before it ended.
Right.
That was the most surprising part to me, was that it was one finisher from Austin Theory took him out. So guess he had to get back to filming something.
Right. Yeah. That's what someone had noticed. He had like a farmer's tan. He was like, clearly just kind of hopped on a plane from whatever movie set he was on, and was like, well, I'm here now. So
but still in great shape. Like, you can tell he's lost some size from his prime and everything, but he's got probably still in better shape than half the wrestlers in the locker room. So
yeah. Absolutely.
Hadn't missed a step at all.
No, I would say no. I, I'm glad. I think the ending was good. I think Austin Theory should have won, but I don't think that the way he won helped him at all. Like I don't think he came out of the match any better than how he went into it. I don't think it benefited him really in any way. Like,
I hadn't
and I
really
think
been
that was the purpose, was kind
Yeah,
of to
and,
get him.
and I hadn't really been following, so I don't know what their story leading up to the match was, other than Austin Theory kind of looks like a young John Cena. So that was probably,
Yeah,
looking at the video package, that's kind of what it was. I
yeah,
did watch the promo that John Cena cut on Austin Theory ahead of time, and
yeah.
I don't think win or lose, there was any way he's going to kind of break through that one. So hopefully they have something planned for him to kind of drive through that verbal burial and,
Right.
and do something a
Yeah.
little bit cool with him going forward.
Right. Yeah. After that promo, I thought for sure I was like, all right, so they're gonna make up for that, and I don't feel like they did at all.
Yeah,
So
no,
we'll
I mean
see.
he did
I
win
like
with the
Austin.
one. He won with the one finisher, so that
Yeah.
made him, I guess that made him look pretty strong. But
Yeah.
uh,
And
other
he
than that,
he bit John Cena. That was kind of cool. You don't see that much in WWE.
yeah, he
Um.
did a Mike Tyson on him.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it was okay. It was good. I mean, good for Austin. I'm sure that was a big moment for him. He's a big fan growing up. So
Yeah,
yeah, cool. It
yeah.
was cool. Let's see. Match two. What do we have? Oh, the men's fatal four-way tag match.
The tag, yeah. So that was a
That,
huge pleasant surprise for me.
yeah.
That was an amazing match, and like
Right.
had no expectations from that whatsoever. I thought it was just
Right.
going to be like a filler match.
Uh-huh.
But man, yeah, they killed it. That was
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. A lot of fun. It was like they were like, all right, you have 8 minutes, get your stuff in. And they're like, all right, you got it. And in that eight
Yeah,
minutes, it was jam-packed. I
every
mean,
team looked good. Every
it
team
was
got a chance to shine. Street
uh-huh.
Profits got a really needed win, I think.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, those guys are going to be stars. Like if
Oh,
they ever, like as a tag team, they're awesome. But if they ever break them up, either guy,
right.
Montez probably is the HBK of the team.
Absolutely.
But man, Angelo Dawkins, like he's put in work over the last
Yeah.
few years. He like
Mhm.
last time I saw him wrestle kind of singles, he was a little. I mean, he was fine. He was good,
Right.
but like now he's just fantastic wrestler. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And that pounce on Braun Strowman,
Oh,
it was like, oh my, it was probably my, like, of all those spots, that was probably my favorite, most unexpected one. It was
I don't
like
even think
Dawkins
Braun
just like,
expected that one.
yeah, that was great. Yeah, and like the Tower of Doom, and yeah, it was all good. It was a good
Yeah,
match. It
yeah.
was really
Usually
fun.
not a fan of the Tower of Doom spots just because they're so like set up and contrived and everything, but that one
Yeah,
kind of worked.
yeah,
And,
yeah,
yeah, so it looked pretty cool.
good. Yeah, and Chad Gable, shout out to Chad Gable for that German deadlift, German suplex on Braun.
Woo.
Yeah,
Yeah, man,
and
Braun took all the cool power moves from other people this time. That's
yeah,
pretty interesting to see.
right, yeah, and then Braun coming off the top rope. That
Yeah,
was I've never seen that before
all
from
the big
Braun.
guys were going off the top. It was like
Yeah,
there was, I don't follow as closely as I used to, but the Viking Raiders, the one dude did like the Vader salt off the top.
right.
He didn't hit
Yeah,
anyone, but it was just it's always
still
cool to
awesome.
see those kinds of moves coming from the bigger guys.
Right. Yeah. Otis maybe shouldn't wear yellow again. This
It's just a
that was brutal.
little bit of swamp ass going on.
Yeah. Yeah. I watched and I didn't want to laugh because I related to it. I was like, okay, if that were me and I were in yellow, that would 100% be that would be me. So it's like I'm not gonna laugh at him, but maybe not yellow next time. A darker color for sure. But
Kind of a side note, I noticed a lot of the superstars were wearing reds and yellows. I almost was like expecting Hulk Hogan to show up at some point,
no.
but it was just very it was interesting. There's a lot of red and yellow
Yeah.
in WrestleMania 39.
Right. What if they're all using like the same like designer person?
No.
There's like a couple
No.
handful of people that kind of help them out or whatever. But
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, it was good. It was like you said, I was pleasantly surprised. Like I didn't expect much from it. Blown away. Like
Yeah.
8 minutes, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Let's see. Probably the most fun match I think for me was Rollins and Logan Paul.
It was fun.
What
It was
what did
definitely
you
fun.
think of that?
Yeah,
Like,
definitely fun. Blows me away how good Logan Paul is for like less than a year
right.
of in-ring time.
Yeah. He's had
Uh,
like 5 matches, I think they said. Like it's like his fifth match.
Like
Or
I mean,
fifth.
but he was good in his first match. Like that, he's
Oh, yeah.
just like super athletic.
Right.
Like whatever personal opinions you have of the dude, like hey, if you're just looking at WWE as a fan of WWE, solid wrestler. And
Yeah.
definitely like he's in there with one of the best and Seth Rollins. So that match was gonna be good unless like Logan blew out a knee again or something like that, or Rollins blew out a knee since they both done that. But no, that was great. I knew someone was going to be in the prime model. I thought it was going to be Jake. I thought it was going to be Jake Paul. But when he pulled the mask off, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's not just funny.
Yeah, it was great.
Just got annihilated by Logan, which was even funnier.
Yeah,
no, it was a great match. I kind of thought Logan might end up winning.
Yeah.
His birthday and all of that stuff, and I know he's like I think coming up to the end of his contract, so that would be a good way to entice him to come back and all of that kind of thing. But I don't think he cares one way or the other. He's getting money from it, so he had no issue putting over Seth Rollins. It was just great match.
Yeah, and he's such a perfect heel. It's like he's so easy to hate until he wrestles. It's like when he wrestles, they're like, well, he's really good. But then he talks or does something. You're like, well, no, I hate him.
It was weird when he was trying to be the good guy. It was like, oh, man, like you're a natural douchebag. Just play that and be cool. Be cool with being the douchebag. And it's not real life. It's not, even though you probably are in real life. It's fine. You can do the character. Yeah, it's so natural. It's so natural for him. What's great? I mean, it's natural for Seth too. It's funny is that they both came in like acting like heels, total D bags. Logan came in with kind of the HBK WrestleMania 12 entrance.
The zip line.
I already hated him for that because I was like, yo, you're good, Logan, but you're no HBK. And then he was just talking trash the entire time. So I actually ended up really liking that. And after I got over my initial shock, I was like, no way, they're doing the HBK zipline entrance for Logan freaking Paul. No, it was very, very good. It was a very good match.
Yeah. I think that was the most fun I had probably watching a match for sure. Like I think mascots are hilarious. So anytime someone's in like any kind of like mascot or anything like that, like it gets me. It's so funny to me. I loved it, all of it. And apparently at one point, before we knew who was in the like the prime like costume, the people in the front row were telling him to sit down because he was blocking their view. So if you watch it, he like crouches down in his little costume.
I could see that. I could see that. Yeah, because I saw one of the camera angles. He was blocking a good like 5 or 6 seats right in the front row. That was funny. Yeah, that was Logan's gear was really cool. I like that he kind of switched colors a little bit, and I mean he's just solid. I mean he hit like moves that people that have been in the business 10 years still can't hit crisply like he does. Like the freaking it's what did he call it? The Maverick lariat or whatever it was, but it's him. Yeah. I mean, like CM Punk couldn't hit that. He broke his foot trying to
broke his foot the first time he tried it.
Like it's just amazing that Logan does it so effortlessly every time and just makes it look amazing. So very, very. I can't say that I'm surprised that it was a good match, having seen a couple of Logan's other matches. Like his match with Reigns was very good. His first match at last year's WrestleMania was like, wow, that's amazing that he's that good in like one match. So I expected him to do well. It's Seth Rollins, so you expect him to do well. But I think it even exceeded the expectations I had for it. I thought it would probably just be kind of like crazy overbooked stuff, nonsense, but it was actually just like had some of that, but a solid wrestling match as well.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, next match, I was kind of lukewarm on. It was Becky, Lita, and Trish versus Damage Control, Dakota Kai, Io Sky, and Bayley.
Yeah.
I thought it was okay. I mean,
it was fine.
It was fine.
Like Lita and Trish still look amazing. They came in there in good shape, but then they're not in the ring every week and stuff like that. They're going to be a little bit slower. They're going to be a little like their timing is going to be a little bit off. And I think that's what kind of dragged that down a little bit, was just ring rust essentially. And like being real, Lita was never like the greatest in-ring performer.
Yeah, she's always clumsy. I wouldn't say clumsy, just clunky. She was never really I mean, she's always sluggish.
Little awkward. It worked for her. Like she had the big move. She can do the twist of fate. She can do the moonsault really well. like she's got the psychology down and everything, but she was always a little bit like slower paced than some of the,
Right.
I guess, more established wrestlers. And then Trish became really, really good.
Yeah.
She still moved around really well.
She looked good. She looked really good.
Just looked like there were some timing issues and things like that. Io looked like she was just like legitimately trying to kill everyone.
Yeah. Right.
Like with her drop
Yeah.
kicks and stuff like that. She
Uh-huh.
was knocking people across the ring and it looked great. But I was
Right.
like, I'm pretty sure that was a real kick.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I think the right team went over. I mean, it was like you expect it's going to be, the
Yeah. Like the
the
feel
two
good.
returning legends.
Yeah.
And I know that at one point there was, I guess, a rumor that Trish might turn heel and align.
Right.
So
I've
you were
heard
kind of
that.
looking
Yeah.
for that. Maybe that's still going to happen at some point. But
Yeah.
at WrestleMania, like she hasn't been at WrestleMania in a while. Like, don't turn her heel right away.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it
Let her
made
have that
sense to
moment.
me. Didn't hate the
Yeah.
match. It wasn't the best match.
Yeah.
Like I said at the very beginning, no match was bad. It
Mm.
was just in comparison to the stuff that came before it. You could see
Yeah.
it wasn't quite as crisp as all the
Right.
other stuff.
Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah. I would have liked to have seen Damage Control win. I feel like they would have needed it more, but like you said, it being WrestleMania, it just made sense that the feel good moment's gonna happen. So yeah, it was all right. It's good.
Yeah.
Next we have probably the two greatest entrances of the night: Rey Mysterio versus Dominic. So yeah, loved this, loved everything about this. Rey's entrance, paying homage to Eddie Guerrero, was fantastic. With Snoop
Loved
Dogg,
it.
and then
Yeah.
Dominic's entrance, straight from prison, in his wrestling gear, was just phenomenal. It was great. Like, goofy wrestling is the best wrestling, and it was totally goofy.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. Love that.
And I was kind of hoping he'd keep the mask on and kind of do like the evil Mysterio versus the good Mysterio.
Yeah, right.
I can see why he didn't, of course, because he's not
Yeah.
used to wrestling in the mask and everything. But yeah, no, I agree. The entrances were awesome. Ray's always dressed to the nines for WrestleMania. He had the nice Great Muta tribute mask going on. So and then they pulled out a great match. Like Dominic isn't like he isn't his dad yet.
No.
Man, he was moving. He was doing some good stuff. Got the family involved. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah. Again, I would have liked Dominic to have won, but with Ray just being in the Hall of Fame, it's like, okay,
you kind of had to expect that.
Yeah, you had to. But
I imagine they're going to do like a run it back thing at Backlash in Puerto Rico, probably with Bad Bunny involved. Maybe Dominic gets the win there. As we'll talk about later, I'm not sure what's going on with Judgment Day right now, other than Rhea. So, we may be heading for like an implosion of that group too. So who knows?
Right. Yeah, and I think regardless of who won or not, Dominic came across really well.
No, he looked great.
He's gonna be a star no matter what. And I remember when he first debuted, I was kind of like, well, that's weird. Like, okay, it's his son, and he's really grown. He's grown into the role, and he's found himself, and
he's killing the character.
He's awesome.
Yeah, he's killing the character.
Jailbird gimmick is phenomenal. Like, it's great. Everything about Dominic is awesome. So
yeah,
I love it.
Like I watched the Hall of Fame even the night before, and the walkout that they did.
Oh yeah,
Rey Mysterio. And like you could see he had like legitimate tears in his eyes for his dad, and he like they probably had to walk out so he didn't catch him on camera like crying and stuff like that for him. So I'm sure he was backstage like losing it, and then they got the biggest hug together when they got back there. But it worked really well for the story. Ray's I'll take care of business tomorrow. That was a great comeback. I loved Conan. I kind of wish Conan had come out for WrestleMania. I was hoping to see him, but they probably didn't want to take too many chances having Conan out there with live mics and stuff like that. Gave him a chance at the Hall of Fame. He did great. Get him out of there.
Right. But okay, and then favorite match of the night for me: Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair. God, it was like they were told they weren't going to main event WrestleMania, but they said we're still going to main event WrestleMania. Put on just I think the best women's match I've ever seen in my life. Like, it was phenomenal.
It's
Like,
definitely up there. Yeah.
yeah, it
It
was great.
started out a little bit slow and a little bit shaky.
Yeah.
Until they found their rhythm, but it may have been kind of intentional to
Hmm.
build, because that was just like one of those matches that you're like, they're kind of spamming finishers and things like that, and they're not really.
Right.
And it just kept going and kept going and kept cycling up, and then
Hmm.
it turned into one of those where you're like on the edge of your seat. I agree. Between that and the main event, were like, it's really hard for me to pick which of those were my favorite, but
Yeah.
that one I think edges it out,
Yeah.
just slightly. It was a really good story.
Yeah.
Charlotte, I don't know, it's like Charlotte's smile at the end where she's just kind of sitting out there and
Yeah.
still getting
Yeah.
the attention on her. I'm not sure what that was about, but other than
Yeah.
that, it was
Yeah.
great.
There's some debate on that. It's like, was she, like you said, like, was she like intentionally trying to still make it about her? Like, was she like, but I think the general consensus was that she just knew that she'd put on like the best match of the night. Is kind of one of the theories too.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was weird to me too. I know, like, they kept painting to her smiling. I was like, that's a little weird.
It
But
reminded me a lot of like back when LOL Cena wins, John Cena,
uh,
where even when he would lose, he would just kind of smirk about it, and
right, no
it didn't
sell it.
seem like it mattered, like,
Right.
and that kind of thing. So it kind of gave me that impression,
Yeah.
which was a little bit annoying, because you'd like, Charlotte is all about like, I need the title, I have to have the title, I'm the queen,
Yeah.
blah blah blah.
Right.
Although you kind of think back to, which was it, last Mania or Mania before that, Bianca versus Sasha. I think it
Sasha.
was the one before
I think it
last.
was one before. Yeah.
She fought Becky Lynch last year, I think.
Hmm.
Um, where Sasha was like so blown away by being, not only a women's main event, but two Black women who were like
Hmm.
making history, and the emotion was there. And so she was kind of out on the outside, clapping and crying and smiling.
Right.
But they didn't really pan to her that often. Like, they did a couple of times, and then it wasn't part of the story. So it feels like this is
Right.
part of some kind of a story.
Hmm.
I'm just not sure what that story is yet. So it kind
We'll
of, that's
see.
why it gave me that Cena vibe, was like,
Right.
well, this should matter more to you. Like, I know you're happy about the event, and you're like, she got me, but I'll get it back.
Right.
Like, nah, man. Like, shows like you should be upset that you lost. Like,
Right.
don't smile.
Yeah. It should mean something. Right.
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Again, like, phenomenal. Like, the German suplex into the face plant. Like, I don't know if it was obviously miscommunication. I don't know if Charlotte was gonna, like, flip out of it or what, but I think it was at that point though that the match really shifted into full gear. It was like that like woke her up somehow. Like, once she smacked her face and she had like the mark on her nose is when it really kicked into gear. And it
Well,
was like,
she
okay,
paid
this
a
is
lot
for
for
real.
that nose, so she wants to make sure that she's not getting probably
Right.
upset her quite a bit. There's like, man, 30 surgeries that I had to get here, and now I got to go get 5 more.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, it was good. I think the outcome was good. The crowd was way, way behind Rhea the whole time.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
the whole time.
yeah.
Like, they, yeah,
It was clear who the favorite was there,
right.
and her finisher from the top rope looked
Oh, the
awesome.
Riptide. Yeah.
Yeah, the Riptide.
Yeah.
Look awesome. Like, hard landing for both.
Yeah. Brutal. Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was I agree. That was my favorite match of the night.
Yeah. Like, from before we get into like the last match, I think, like, from pure wrestling, that was the best match. Now, for me, storytelling wise, obviously, it's the next match, KO and Zayn versus the Usos. Pretty standard. I mean, it was a pretty standard match at first. I think the first half for sure was just kind of a standard tag, the hot tags and things like that. But from a story perspective, I mean, 10 out of 10. Yeah. Like, it did everything it was supposed to do 100%. With Sami Zayn and Jay specifically, I think.
100%. I like everyone's reactions to everything were just on point for the story. That's why that one. I mean, it was a great match on its own.
Oh yeah.
But the story around it, that's why that one, like, almost was my favorite match of the night. I mean, those last 2 matches were just fantastic. Way to end night 1. Mm-hmm. But that, especially that ending sequence with all of the haluva kicks, mm-hmm. and just Sammy's face after everyone, it was like, it really reminded me of like HBK's "I'm sorry, I love you" moment to Ric Flair. Like I kind of almost expected him to say something, but it was in the eyes and it was in the face, and it was like, I don't want to keep doing this to you, bro.
Right.
But I have no choice. And it was a great way to end that their portion of that story, which I guess it's not ended yet, but
I guess not.
Yeah.
I hope so, but no, I guess not.
a great way to end that chapter of that story for WrestleMania.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what Sammy excels at, is telling a story just with just his face, like in the way he moves. Like he doesn't have to say anything. You just know. Like you said, you just picked up on it. Like you knew what he's trying to get across. Good stuff. And apparently
you could just tell it meant the world to all of them. Like they were all fully invested in the story and everything. And I don't know, did you watch the press conference at all?
I did. Yeah, I did. That's the only portion I watched, was just theirs.
Eating the Snickers. Well,
that was my favorite.
Sammy's
like
talking.
Batista style, just like moving real slow. Like, no, it's good. It's good stuff. It did. It meant a lot for him, especially because they got their start in LA, like in the Inglewood area with PWG. So it was a big deal. Like they had like the PWG logo on their gear and this dragon mask, and it was a big deal for sure.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, it was great. And apparently, I didn't know this, but apparently Sami Zayn's Muslim, so he was the first Muslim American to like ever main event WrestleMania. Yeah,
that's one of the main reasons he never goes to Saudi. Out there is one, because he backs Syria and all of that, so just morally he's not going to go, but he also doesn't want to get captured when they're there. So
yeah, he was a cool dude. And I guess I've heard stories that it's a thing in LA that like people just leave things early because of how bad traffic is. So apparently this WrestleMania, though, people that were there, they said like very few people actually even left. Like,
that's good.
After this, like they stayed around and they played Sami Zayn's song like 4 or 5 times over, and people were still there, just like they were hanging out and stuff. So that was cool. I mean, that's everyone was happy and singing the song. It was a good moment. It was a perfect way to end night one, I think, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the kind of work that Sammy and like all of them have been doing, they deserve that main event spot for night one for sure.
Oh yeah. So I think that's it for night one.
Night one. Yep.
Yeah. And again, I thought night one was, I mean, it was one of the best WrestleManias I've seen in a long time. Like in recent years, it was good. I liked it.
If WrestleMania had just been night one, that would have probably been my favorite WrestleMania since like 17.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
100%. And in my mind, it might be a coping mechanism, but I am separating night one and night two as 2 separate WrestleManias. So night one to me was the perfect WrestleMania. Night two was like a.
I don't think you can't do that.
I can do that. I can do that.
So night one was WrestleMania 39, and night two was WrestleMania 39 and a half. We're gonna do the Lion King 1.5 rule. We're gonna call 39 and a half was night two.
Yeah, I wish I could do that, but no. Night two.
Had a lot of good. There was a lot of good in night two. It was underwhelming, I think.
Yeah. Like I guess we can start with the first match for night two.
Well, we started with like Miz and Snoop came out again and did their
kind of the same. Yeah, a lot of copy and paste, like a lot of the same.
Pretty much the same.
Yeah. America the Beautiful. I didn't write down who was saying it, but he was no Becky G.
I missed the singing of America the Beautiful. I was getting my dinner. No,
he was no Becky G. He wasn't Becky G.
Good to know. I won't go back to watch America the Beautiful.
Good. I'm glad I saved you the 30 seconds of having to do that.
I appreciate that. My time is valuable.
There you go. Brock versus Omos.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Yeah. Like I knew it was going to be I knew it was going to be kind of like just a Haas match, and so I wasn't expecting too much. I didn't hate it. It was fun. Like I figured Brock was going to pull out the win. The big moment was going to be the F5. I thought it was going to probably take at least 2 F5s to put him away. So it kind of like Cena in theory. It's like funny to me that opening match, it was one finisher to
Right.
put the person away on both
Yeah.
of those. Almost felt like that was like intentional to set up both
Right.
both first matches to be like no finisher spamming. We're gonna get to that.
Yeah.
Like, but
Right.
yeah, no, I didn't hate it. I thought like some of the stuff that Brock was doing was pretty impressive. Picking up Omos
Mhm.
like that, the size difference was impressive to see. So yeah, I didn't hate it.
Yeah, same. I think almost did fantastic. Like for as little of experience as he has, like he did well, and he
Yeah,
was stiff with Brock. And I feel like if he hadn't been, Brock would not have taken that well. So I think he was probably just doing what Brock told him to do. But
yeah.
it was
Well,
good. Yeah,
Brock wants you to be, believable, but not too believable.
not too
Like if you
yeah.
do what
It's
Braun did to him and knee him in the head, he's gonna
right.
knock the hell out of you. So
Yeah,
Omos didn't do any of that.
no, no.
But he was
But
tossing him around like legit, like he
he
was
was
picking him up
like a
and throwing
toddler.
him.
Like when he
Yeah,
first
it
threw
was
Brock, like a toddler. I don't
it was really
advocate for
funny.
throwing toddlers, but if you did, that's exactly what it would look like. It was just
It's not. Yeah,
don't throw a toddler, but if
viewers
you do,
don't throw toddlers, please.
that's what it would look like.
Yeah,
But
yeah, but like it's not often that you look at Brock Lesnar and he's the small guy in the ring.
right,
So
yeah,
that was fun to watch. That was fun to watch. It gave me like way back WrestleMania 10 in Caesar's Palace, Undertaker, Giant Gonzalez vibes, but like Omos is actually good.
I was like, but good, like I don't know, yeah, yeah, okay, I
Yeah,
get that, yeah, I
yeah.
get that, yeah,
So that was it was just harmless fun.
yeah,
It wasn't anything great. It wasn't anything bad.
yeah. Part of me thought maybe Omos would win as a card carrying Omos Sapien, as we call ourselves. Maybe he would pull it out, but I think the logical part of me knew that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
So, what are you going to do? It was still fun. I enjoyed it.
Very fun.
And Brock sold it like hell. Like he sold it like he'd been through a war. It's cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think everyone came out looking good. Next match, we have the women's showcase, which is Liv Morgan and Raquel, and then Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green, the Karen team,
Mhm.
as they're called, and then Shotzi and Natalia, and then of course Rousey and
Shayna.
Baszler.
Yeah, Shayna Baszler.
Yeah,
Yeah, not as good as the men's showcase for sure.
No.
Some timing issues that you often get sometimes when Natalia's in the ring. Oddly enough, since she's the most experienced person there. Again, I didn't hate it. Like I thought it was like a fine match, and
Right.
the ladies were pulling out all the stops. So it's like a couple of scary bumps outside. Like Chelsea Green jumped out and like almost no one caught her, and
Right.
she's got that history of messing up her wrist. I guess she was okay, and then Liv did like as Rodriguez picked her up and power bombed her out over
That was terrifying.
onto everyone,
That
and like her head
yeah.
was like so close to hitting the ground.
Yeah.
So those were some kind of scary spots. Natalia did her
Yeah.
double sharpshooter spot, which was always kind of cool to see.
Right.
And then I think is it Rousey still hurt? Like that's probably why.
I think so. Yeah, that's why she did zero. She didn't do anything, and then still won.
Like, and I think Shayna may have hurt herself because she came in with no shoe on. So I don't know if she messed up her ankle or something like that. And
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, she came in, she didn't have her like one of her boots had come off, and I like don't know if I couldn't tell if it was wrapped or if that was like a sock or something like that, but it may have hurt herself there. So they didn't do a whole lot. Of course, they like fairly sure everyone kind of expected them to win.
Yeah,
I would have liked better since Rousey was hurt and since Shayna may not have been 100%. If they'd have put another team in there, and then whatever team won that match would then take on Shayna and Rousey later and let them get the win and get a title shot from that or something.
Right.
But other than that, it's fine. It wasn't great, but it was certainly no men's match from the first night, but it was fine.
Yeah, agreed. Oh, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I kind of forgot that Rousey was even in the match, and because they were just not like, I don't know where they were hiding or what, but I just forgot they were in there. And then when they rolled in and won, I was like, oh, okay, cool, I guess. Next match, Drew versus Sheamus versus Gunther.
This was my favorite match of night 2.
Yeah, 100%. Like, it just, what is it? Big E, big meaty men slapping meat is exactly what that was.
Slapping meat. Yeah, they were talking about that. They were talking
Like,
about that.
yeah,
And
it,
boy, that's a good description of what was going on. And it was, I think I counted, and I probably missed a few, but I counted, I think 39 chops over the course of the match, and that's not including like Sheamus's corner or over the rope
oh, I think
forearms.
that got the biggest reaction was when Sheamus did that. What does he call it? The something of the Bowery, the bells of the Bowery, or
Yeah,
something like that.
something like
Yeah,
that. Yeah, and
biggest
yeah,
reaction.
he was
People,
just
yeah,
destroying everyone. And yeah,
right.
I think he hit Drew with like I think he was trying to get to 30, and Drew was like, "Nah, man."
No, no more, please.
Fell down at like 27. He was like, I can't do it no more.
Right.
But yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah.
Gunther's a beast. Like
Oh yeah.
I hope he's in line for a like a world championship at some point
Yeah.
soon because
Yeah.
he's just awesome. And
Right.
they're all awesome. I feel like Sheamus will be probably the one to take the IC title off of him so he can get
I
that
hope so.
title since he has not had that one before.
Mhm.
And then Gunther can go on and challenge whoever the champ might be. Probably still Roman.
Right. Yeah. 2 years from now,
Yeah.
still Roman. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, match of the night for me for sure. It was great. I mean, they didn't hold anything back. Just good stuff. I was okay with the outcome. Like you said, Gunther's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really have a favorite going into it. Like
I
Sheamus
didn't.
would have been cool. I was like, I mean, we all win no matter who wins or
Yeah.
loses. We all won. So
Yeah.
it was great.
I didn't same. I didn't have really a favorite going in. I would have been fine any of them winning. Like
Yeah.
for me, Sheamus would have been the best, I guess, for me, best outcome just
Right.
because of that's the story. Like he's never won the IC title,
Mhm.
but it didn't have to be at WrestleMania. It can be at any time. So that's he's had his plenty of his WrestleMania moments, and Gunther's still still working on those. So it was nice
Yeah.
to see him get one.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. And next is the Raw Women's Championship, Bianca and Asuka. I thought it was good. It was not Charlotte and Rhea for
No,
sure. It was
no.
not.
I mean, it's probably Bianca's weakest WrestleMania match so far from what I've seen. And I think a lot of that had to
Yeah.
do with, like, there seemed to be a lot of issues with her top. Like, she
Mhm.
seemed some missteps there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, like Janet Jackson
No,
catastrophic
no.
kind of thing.
Yeah,
Always
absolutely.
good. Always
Absolutely.
good. Yeah. And then next up we have probably my favorite moment of the whole night. The segment with Miz and Shane and Snoop Dogg. Fantastic. Like, apparently, it's not fantastic. Okay, let me say that it's been confirmed that Shane tore his quad, like father, like son.
It's just like his dad. What's so funny is I thought that's what happened as soon as it happened. I was like, well, did he tear one or did he tear both? Did he Kevin Nash or did he Vince McMahon? And he Kevin Nashed, but in Vince McMahon style.
Right.
It was hilarious. Now I gotta say they covered really, really well.
Oh, absolutely.
In the moment, because that was
right.
Like it's Snoop. He's not a wrestler, so the fact that he was able to kind of jump in there, and I know the referee was kind of giving him directions, but it was like, all right, that was pretty funny.
Yeah. It's seamless. Like watching it, I was like, is this impromptu? Like, was this supposed to happen? Like, is Shane faking it right now? No idea. And then it turns out no. It was like it was all called on the fly. And Snoop Dogg deserves to be in the Hall of Fame again. Like, let's just run it like next year. Put him in there again for that segment alone. Like, double 2-time Hall of Famer. Great. Like, great people.
It was like, okay, so did Triple H bring back Shane as like one last like F you to Vince, who's probably selling the company tomorrow, and who knows what's going to happen after that? So like, was that like Triple H's way of being like, haha, bringing Shane back? And then that happens, and then like Vince is just in the back laughing through his mustache, just twirling his little pencil mustache, like the McMahon quad strikes again.
Oh, good stuff.
There's a video too, I guess someone shot from the crowd where like it's right after all this happened and Shane's getting help to the back. And then someone yells out, "Welcome back, Shane." It's like,
that's nice.
Well, yeah.
It's nice. Yeah, it was great. Like the sunglasses. I mean, when he threw his sunglasses out instead of the elbow pad, fantastic. Like,
it's good.
It makes me wonder, like, was the people's elbow always gonna happen?
I don't think
like
so. I don't
later.
think so. No, I don't think so.
That's even better. Like,
I say that because I'm fairly certain I saw the referee say people's elbow.
which is
To
bizarre. Like, who made that call? I wonder. Like, who was like, just do the people's elbow? Everyone loves that.
I think it
Like,
was Miz. I think it was Miz because I think he was kind of like telling the referee what to tell Snoop,
uh-huh.
or someone in the headset. Like I don't know,
Right.
maybe Triple H or something in the back was like, have them do people's elbow and send them home.
Right.
Or maybe it was always a plan for like Snoop to get involved. It just happened in a different way
Yeah.
than they were planning to, and so he was always planning to do that. Whatever it was, I mean, they covered it
It
up
was.
really smoothly. It didn't look
Yeah.
awkward at all,
No.
other than Shane laying there like a turtle for a couple of seconds. But it cut away real quick, and it was good.
Yeah, I mean that, and I don't know what that says about this night too, but that was probably my favorite moment of the whole show. Like Shane tearing a quad, impromptu people's elbow, good stuff. It was great.
Yeah, yeah.
It was yeah, fun stuff. And then we'll get into the Hell in a Cell, Balor and versus Edge.
Mm-hmm.
Ah,
It was it wasn't a bad match.
it wasn't bad. No, like you
The
can't look
blood
at anything and say it was bad.
the
Like
blood stoppage kind of killed the flow.
killed it. Yeah.
I understand because it wasn't anything planned, and it was you get hit in the head with a ladder, you got to make sure the dude's okay. But
Right. Yeah.
it was like he was like, "Let me go, let me go."
Mm-hmm.
They rightly
Yeah, for
for
sure.
whatever, like this isn't the Attitude Era anymore. It's not ECW, so
Right.
they had to make sure everything was cool. I'm pretty sure they super glued his head, uh,
Yeah.
and they carried on. It was a fine match. It was
Yeah.
I guess I was expecting a little bit more from a Demon versus Brood Edge, where there
Right.
was, wow, this is cool. Slayer. So they played Slayer. That was cool.
Mhm.
Like the entrance. I would have preferred the Brood song.
Yeah.
Uh, I had heard rumors that Gangrel might be there. That maybe even AEW had let Christian come down to join. That
Right.
would have. So I was kind of like hoping that I would see some of that. Judgment Day didn't get involved. It
Hmm.
just seemed it was kind of muted.
Yeah.
It wasn't as action packed as I expected.
Right. Like the rainbow colored chairs were cool, I guess. Like the red chairs.
The
I
red and
saw
purple, yeah.
I saw a Reddit comment that said it's cool that they melted down the red Hell in a Cell into two red chairs. Like
Two red chairs.
that's what they did with all the metal. They just made two red chairs.
Yeah, but where did they get the purple ones from? Is that the Undertaker's old gloves? They made
There you go. Yeah.
like
Found them in the warehouse, melted them down. Yeah.
yeah, no,
Um,
it
it was,
like I was stoked because I was like, oh cool, they have like the original Hell in a Cell. It's not red. It doesn't look stupid.
mhm.
It doesn't look like a playset. And
Right.
then they start pulling out the weapons, and I'm like, oh, those are the weapons you used to get with the Jax toys.
Right. Yeah, I thought when the first kendo stick that came out that was purple, I thought it was a mop handle. I was like, still devastating, honestly, but like, why? Why is it a mop handle? Like, what are they doing with this?
Well, I was like, okay, maybe like Finn had, a weapon planted of his choosing, right? To
Right.
represent, like it was purple, so it was Judgment Day and like left their mark on it. But then all of
Right.
the weapons were like either red or purple, and
Yeah.
it's just kind of hokey.
Yeah. Yeah. Even the tables are like spray painted,
Yeah,
haphazard purple. It's all right. The coup de grace through the table was cool.
that was
I
stupid.
mean,
No,
that looked
that was absolutely stupid. The dude just got his head busted open, and then he's gonna do like a straight down jump through a table that's about to
yeah.
break. Like that
But
seems like a
the
possible wrestling.
knees and ankles are not attached to the head. So I mean,
No, but
it's
the
fine.
table splinters and breaks into pieces, and pieces fly around, and jagged edges are around. And
That's
he's got
true.
a massive gash in his head that has been poorly super glued shut in a minute. So it just seemed like needlessly like a needless spot. They didn't really need to do that.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a lot of logic for pro wrestling, though.
it
Like,
is. It is.
um,
It just did
yeah,
it like he could have done he had like a splash or
he
something
could
like
have.
that
Yeah.
something where he wasn't falling, and you just going back to Shane, you just seen a dude on a leapfrog blow his quad out. Like
Uh,
I know like
yeah.
Finn is in much better shape and is a little bit younger
Right.
than Shane, but still like it's
Right.
that there already was one misstep.
Yeah.
Like why take the
Yeah.
chance?
Literally a misstep. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah, I feel that. And then the fact that it was a platform specifically designed to jump off of was a little like, okay. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I think I would have preferred like an audible or something like that, or they
Right.
could have done something a little bit different. I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm glad it worked out okay. It still it
Mhm.
looked cool because it worked out, but it just seems
It
like
could
there
not
was
have.
kind of a silly, like he could have gotten impaled somehow,
Right.
and not the impaler by Edge. Like it
Right.
could have been
Right.
something really bad. So
Like literally impaled.
yeah,
Like
literally impaled. Yeah. So I don't know. I just like I said, I expected more out of that match, and
yeah.
Edge just kind of put him away pretty easily,
Hmm.
really. I mean, it was
Yeah.
like they'd done all the big moves and everything, and it was like he didn't pin him, but it was one concerto. It's you know, Finn as the demon has been pretty protected. He's only lost the one time to Roman. So
Right.
it feels like he should have had more of a fight there. Judgment Day should have been there. Because
Yeah.
like Damian barely got any screen time on WrestleMania.
Yeah. What's up with that? I like him a
I don't know.
lot.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
Awesome.
know what that
But
was. So yeah,
hmm.
I expected more. It was fine. It wasn't a bad match. It was
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. I feel
It
like
wasn't it
Balor.
wasn't Boss Man Taker, Hell in the Cell.
No, it wasn't. Yeah. No.
What was that? 15 WrestleMania 15. That
No.
was rough.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was
If
better
it would
than.
have been more like Al Snow and Big Boss Man
Oh
in the
yeah,
kennel
with
finale, that would have been rad. That would have been amazing.
some dogs running around. Yeah,
Yeah. Just being all over the place. Great
yeah,
stuff.
loved
Yeah.
it.
I would have been down for that. But
Yeah.
we got what we got. So it's
Well,
all right.
now that you mentioned, it was a pretty good match.
It's all could always be worse. All right, so now it's main event time, friendo. Um, what did you think? Honestly.
I thought the match was amazing. I thought they had
Oh
a
yeah.
fantastic match. They worked really, really well together. Thrilling as all hell. A lot of finishers,
Hmm.
but it made sense in the context of the
Tasteful,
story.
tasteful finisher
Yeah.
spinning.
I guess I'm not upset that Cody didn't win because I've never been a huge Cody fan. I don't dislike him. I think he's serviceable, and really good. He comes from a great line of wrestlers. Um,
Hmm.
but I'm not like, oh, Cody gotta win. Um, his entrance was cool. He looked like Homelander. That was fun.
Yeah.
Roman had a cool entrance. And it's like LOL Roman wins, but also no one's ever been close to 1,000 days as champion. He's so close. Like,
Yeah.
maybe he could have planned that out a little bit better.
Mhm.
Like padded
Yeah.
the days or something like that so that it
Right.
was at WrestleMania. But
Yeah.
I don't hate that he walked out as the champion. In fact, I kind of when it happened, I laughed. I was like, because it was just like the expected thing was Cody
Yeah.
the title
I mean,
and ends his story and all of that. But it's like, well, kind of like what we were talking about for Sheamus. Does the story have to end at WrestleMania? No, he can still like his story ends when he wins the title. It
yeah.
doesn't have to be at WrestleMania, so it can be when Roman hits that 1,000, and then he takes or 999. He's at day 999, and then he takes the title. So he
Yeah.
denies Roman the 1,000 days, but just barely. Like it
Yeah.
seems, and the only thing I thought was stupid was that the referee throws Solo out and then Solo's back. And the referee's
Right.
like, oh,
Yeah.
oh okay.
Right. Like,
That didn't make
but
it.
he had a hood on though. He was wearing a hoodie, so
Yeah, because that still didn't look like Solo, who's always wearing a
no.
hood or
Yeah.
a towel over his head. Like,
Right. Yeah.
no,
Different.
I thought that was the only stupid part. Like the ref, I was like kind of waiting. I was like, are they gonna they're gonna see that restart the match? Triple H will come out, restart the match, something like that.
Hmm. Yeah.
Then they ended it, and I was like,
Once
okay,
the pyro went off, I knew it
yeah,
was like that's it. It's over.
yeah.
Maybe The Rock, maybe. But then once the pyro went off,
Someone come out. Yeah, I was looking for Rock. Randy Orton, I think, was rumored to come out. And like hadn't seen Bray Wyatt in a while. Could it be
hmm.
Bray? Could it
Repo Man.
Repo Man would have been really cool. Yeah. I think he's still
Um,
around somewhere. Um, who else?
yeah.
Oh, LA Knight didn't show up for
Yeah. It's in LA.
He's in LA,
Like
and he was
it's right
like,
there.
getting massive cheers the last few weeks.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of almost expected him to be the one to come out against Miz instead of Shane.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was weird to me, but I mean, I didn't hate it. Like I said, the match itself was so good that I was like,
Oh yeah.
the rematch is going to be even better. And
Right.
like they pulled out so much for this one. What's the rematch going to look like?
Right.
And, you know, and I don't know if that's at Backlash or if that's they save it for a bigger pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
But it's gonna be killer when it happens. What was it? It was like 940 something days that Roman's
Something
at.
like that. Yeah.
So or he's like 40 something days
47.
shy of 1,000 days.
Yeah.
So yeah, I expect that the title will go to Cody at some point. Because I just don't really see who else
Yeah.
unless
If
they
not
keep
Cody,
him.
yeah.
Yeah,
There's
unless
no one
they're
else.
just keeping Roman champ until WrestleMania 40 and having The Rock take it.
That's what I've heard. Is like they called an audible because they got The Rock to agree to a match at WrestleMania 40. I kind of hope that's not the case, but you know, I don't know. Like you
Not
said, I
unless
like the match.
that's
I thought it was good,
not unless
really
that's
good. I mean, it
condition
was
of the
fantastic.
sale that they're talking about. Like
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, that's another thing
keep the
too. It's
title
like
on your big guy and
right.
get someone bigger in.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know.
but yeah, like you said, the match itself was fantastic. Like I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. I do like Cody Rhodes a lot, so I was a little, I wouldn't say devastated, but uh, surprised. I was very surprised,
I like
honestly.
him fine. I'm just
I
not.
like, yeah,
He's not going to be like if you ask me to name my top 5 or 10 wrestlers, he's probably not going to be on that list. Now, if it's a top 25, top 50, he might be somewhere on there. Like
okay,
I like him. I mean,
yeah,
he's kind of in the same category as like a Miz or an LA Knight or people that I've enjoyed watching and always look forward to their matches, but I'm never like, oh, that's my guy.
yeah,
Um, and I dig what Roman's doing with this character and
yeah,
the fact that he's been able to keep it still somewhat fresh for that
yeah,
long, where you're not like getting annoyed. Well, I know a lot of people are, but a lot of people are annoyed with it. But I haven't been. I still think and a lot of that is due to Sammy.
mm-hmm.
I still feel like Sammy should have been the one to take it off of him.
Same,
So
yeah,
if that's the audible that they called, where now it may end up being a triple threat at some point. Although I don't want to see the tag team end with KO and Sammy.
right,
I certainly wouldn't be upset if that's the direction they ended up going.
right,
Don't care one way or the other if The Rock comes and takes the title off of Roman. Not like I loved The Rock back in the day. I still dig The Rock. Not as much after all of the stuff that's come out about what he's been doing with DC, the DC universe and the movies and some of the stuff that he's pulled with that. But like, I don't care, whatever.
yeah,
Like,
right,
if it's gonna be
yeah,
The Rock, it's The Rock. If it's not, Cody's fine. If it's not Cody, then I would prefer Sammy.
yeah, yeah. I agree with that, and I'm not going to take this match ending and dock night 2 any points. I think you're right. I think if we just let it breathe and just see what happens, give it a chance. Just see what happens.
That's
That's all you can do. I mean,
one of the better main events I've seen in a long time. So
100%. Absolutely. Yeah. Like, yeah.
if it wasn't built up in the X, like it's sometimes, and I'm as guilty of this as anyone, but sometimes wrestling fans build up like the anticipation so much that this is what's going to happen, that when it doesn't happen, you're disappointed. Well, like, yeah, like,
Yeah, that's me.
it's never set in stone. So don't
No.
don't build it up and just let it play out.
Right.
And like I had no real, like I said, I hadn't really been following as much in recent years. So like I watched some of the big shows and I've watched more since kind of Triple H took over creative, and I've been really impressed with some of the things that are happening. So I'm kind of getting back into it, but not like fully following it or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I didn't come in this with like, it's foregone conclusion. Cody's going to win.
Right.
I thought like the story makes sense either way. Like
right.
Roman is the guy. He's been the guy for 3 years. No one's been able to beat him. Cody's the guy coming in, but he's essentially from a different company coming in. And the history there tells me that doesn't usually go well for the guy that's coming in from a different company.
Yeah, yeah,
So, I was like, man, either way, as long as the match is good, I'm gonna be fine with it.
yeah.
And that's what it was. Roman won, and it, like I said, other than Solo being the one that got him the win, since he'd already been kicked out, like my thought was like, don't kick him out in the first place. Like,
Right.
don't have to do that. And then it makes sense, like have him get taken out by somebody, and then he's kind of out of the equation. You forget he's there, and then he shows back up with the spike later, at the end.
Yeah.
I thought that would have been a little bit more effective than, hey, you're out of here, and then he's back, and then the referee's just like, oh, you got down here fast to celebrate. Like, this makes the referees look so stupid.
Yeah.
That's fine. The match was great.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the match. So
yeah. Yeah, same. I agree. But I was disappointed in the ending at first. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I'll let it breathe. So overall thoughts for me, I would say night one, 100% the better show. Definitely. Like night two, there's nothing you could look at that was like bad, but it wasn't on the same level, I think, as night one. I think,
right.
Like wrestling wise, night one was better. Story wise, night one was better. But night two had Snoop Dogg's people's elbow. So
it did.
It's close, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. I would I agree with that. Night one was definitely, like from an action standpoint, definitely the better show. And as I said before, if it was just night one, it would have been my favorite WrestleMania since like 17. Night two dragged it down a little bit. It wasn't terrible by any means. Like there were a lot more missteps. There were a lot, quads being blown and heads getting busted open that shouldn't have happened, and kind of slowed things down a little bit. Some things that like didn't make as much sense. But went out high on the main event, and like told the same story that was being told in night one, but the war is still going, right? Like a battle was won in night one, but then Roman is gonna be like, he's still winning the war,
right?
And what does that mean now for the Usos? Like they came out and helped him, but they also lost, and so now Roman has to deal with that. And I want to see where that goes.
Yeah.
Because third option for winning the title off of Roman is Jay. And I still think that's a story that needs to be told too.
Yeah.
Because that's how the bloodline started, was Jay, you're going to be part of the bloodline, or I will basically kill you and your brother. And so then it fell in line, and then all of this stuff was, you've got him second guessing things, and like he chose his family, but he even said himself, I don't want to do it, I have to do it. So what does he want to do? Well, he might want to be champion. And so I could see that also being a good story to tell. So anyway, tangent aside, night one, like if we were doing 5-star ratings, night one is like, man, 4.8, like real close to 5. Night two, like 4.2 or 4. I'll say a 4. I'm going to call it a 4. All total, about a 4.5. It's still probably the best WrestleMania I've seen in a long time.
Yeah. No. I agree with that. Yeah. And to your point, though, talking about the bloodline, that makes me feel better, because if you think about it, if Cody had won, that would have been the end of the bloodline, essentially. I mean, like, they could have salvaged it and like had him still be, but I think once Roman loses that belt, I mean, what else can you do from that? I mean, and then it's just Cody versus whoever else is next on the line. But
and I also feel like this could be a good way for them to split the titles up, where they couldn't do that logically at WrestleMania. But I mean, they could have. You could have pulled some of like the contract shenanigans where Heyman had it set in there that it was only for the WWE title, because Roman has been the Universal Champion for almost 1,000 days, not the undisputed heavyweight Universal Champion. So it could have done something like that. And then, Cody wins and he goes to take both belts, and Heyman's like, no, give me back the blue one. And then that would have been, kind of a cool story. But what they're doing now is they're kind of setting, and I don't know if you noticed this, but when Roman came out, he was wearing the world heavyweight title around his waist. he held that one up first. Heyman kind of kept the blue one until he did his, thing where he does both, where he raises both.
Yeah.
They put more of the focus on the WWE Heavyweight Championship. And I feel like that's not an accident, that they're setting it up to be like, dude, that's the one I want. And like, give me the shot at that. Or, Roman's like, you had your shot. I'm not gonna let you take, I'm not gonna give you another shot at it. And somehow you win you win an opportunity to get a shot at one of them.
Right.
Whether that's, through a tournament or something like that, where you can get a shot at one of them and you can choose which one you pick and all of that. And Cody wins that and is able to choose, all that said, that then seems like it makes it more obvious. So I don't know. I feel like they're doing something where they're going to be able to split the titles up, and or Sammy or Jay are going to get back involved and be the ones to take it. In my heart, I don't feel like it's they're going to keep him champion for another year and have it be The Rock. I just
don't see it.
Even if they got the go ahead, even if Rock said yes, there's so much that could go wrong in a year.
Right.
It just doesn't feel
like.
What
do you do? I mean, like, he's beaten everybody.
Yeah.
So, like, you can't beat Cody versus Roman for a year. Like, I don't know.
No.
And I don't know that The Rock and Roman need the title. So it's like,
they don't
do that. Like, he doesn't need to have it. Like, he doesn't need to have it.
Not at all. No, I can see, I don't know, they've got NXT people like Braun Breaker coming up probably pretty soon. So, I mean, like, you could potentially have that be a challenger for a little while. But you can stretch it out. You can get some more challengers in there. But I feel like the story is already there, and it's going to be either Cody, Sammy, or Jay that takes it off Roman. And then potentially The Rock is, the final boss that that will send Roman on vacation for a while. And
Roman did hit a rock bottom. He did hit a rock bottom.
But he's been doing that.
They called it a Nuranagi at first, but then Michael Cole said rock bottom. So
and they've done that a few times.
A few times, So it's like
So like all of the Samoan wrestlers use a version of that though. So it's never like he doesn't make a show of doing it like The Rock, and, all of that stuff. So I don't know. I mean, I know that at some point they want to do that. I know they wanted to do it this year, but it didn't work out. So I mean, that could be the goal, but I just feel like, that's not necessarily the final plan. Is like I said, I think the story is there. All that to say, there's a lot of interesting ways the story can go now, because like you said, if Roman had lost, where does the bloodline go from there? They've lost everything. Now he's still the guy. He's still the dude, and now he's going to be able to, be like, so you guys lost. What are we going to do about it? And then you can continue a story like a story that's been so good. Like, if they can still milk some good stories out of that larger story, why not? Because I mean, Cody did a fine job fitting into it, but really, like, it didn't seem to make sense that he was in there. Like,
they seem kind of forced.
They're awesome. They're awesome, so they made it work. But it could. I felt like there was already another story that could have been told, and Cody could have had his moment, a little bit later on. But so now he got Lex Lugered.
And I don't think Cody's hurt by this at all. I think that he plays a sympathetic face so well that, I mean, he still looks strong. Roman had to kind of cheat to win, so we'll see what happens. But I mean, that's WrestleMania night 1 and 2. That's our honest thoughts and feedback. Let us know in the comments if what you thought of it, and give us a like, subscribe, go check out Just BSing Productions. They're always putting stuff out there.
And we will hopefully be putting more out on Just Ringing It in the near future, and probably more of these kind of raw, kind of uncut thoughts and kind of podcast style discussions for a
Right.
little while. And then, let us know in the comments if you like that, if you want to see something a little bit different, if you want us to review some things, wrestling related, not wrestling related. Just Ringing It obviously is a little bit of a wrestling pun, but we'll talk about just about anything.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Thanks,
All
guys.
right.
Appreciate it. Thanks
Have
for
a
the
good one.
support.